I'll start hearing it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Listen, remember, there's no 60, I don't know what the
Yep.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough, Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on January 3rd, 2023. A notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. Take roll call. Councilwoman Donovan?
Here.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Here.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Here.
Councilman Levis?
Here.
And Councilwoman Rondinero is absent.
Okay, please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's have a moment of silence for our troops, their families, our first responders, and also for Gilberto Mendez, who was the gentleman who was the sixth person who was rescued but ultimately drowned, died at the hospital on that Sunday, September 3rd. Okay, workshop. As I just noted, on Sunday, September 3rd, around 6 o'clock p.m., our lifeguards and water rescue team rescued 5 swimmers in distress off of the 6th Avenue beach. Unfortunately, the 6th member of the group was rescued off of the 5th Avenue beach, and at that time he was unresponsive and was transported to the hospital where he later died. And on behalf of myself and the council, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the extraordinary effort that saved 5 lives. The next on the workshop, I'd just like to note to the council that the beach report for 2023 is out. It's actually on the internet for those of you who'd like to take a look at it. I'll go through it very briefly, comparing it to our 2022 totals. We were off by $144,380, which is approximately 3.3%. I think that was mostly due to the cool weather that we had in June, and it did meet the projection that we made in the budget as far as our revenue for the beachfront. We did, in looking at the badges sold, just as a note, we sold 875 less season badges, 8,459 less daily badges. We did sell 209 more senior badges and 18 more disability badges. So all in all, it was pretty much matched the amount of money we collected in the prior year. But again, weather is a big factor when it comes to the beach revenue. And that's all I have for workshop. Anyone else?
Mayor, I just have one question on the beach report. I noticed the revenue was down from beach lockers. Is there any specific reason why that would be?
No, if you look at my paper here, I also have a question mark. I'm going to follow up on that.
That would seem that it should be pretty consistent.
It would, I agree. Yes, we'll look into it and find out why that should be. Right. Anybody else?
I have a couple things.
Workshop items?
I'm gonna let you guys all know that late last week, Verizon sued Monmouth County. The lawsuit was filed late last week, I found out yesterday. I am happy to share that complaint with anyone who asks to see me after the meeting. I don't have anything else to tell you about that at this point, except that I'm gathering more information. We've been speaking to a couple of lawyers to find out what, if anything, we should do either as a borough or as private citizens, and I can relay that information to you at another date. The complaint itself is largely about claims of shot clock violations again, and has some other claims about the very nature of the permitting process. So it'll be interesting to watch. I don't know how long it will take to go through the system or what will happen, but I'll make sure to keep everyone up to date as that goes through.
Yeah, and I reached out to Tom Arnold, Commissioner Director. I don't think my mic works. But anyway, I reached out to Commissioner Director Tom Arnold for comment, and he did not have one. So he, I'm sure, is just trying to figure out what their next move is on the county as well. So that's where we are at that county level.
Councilwoman Donovan, it looked like the borough is not named in that lawsuit, correct?
No, but my name comes up.
She's named.
Not named formally, just quoted. So, if we were wondering if Verizon was listening. So the other thing I was really hoping to talk a lot more about tonight, but unfortunately, well, fortunately, because I love my civic duty, I was called for jury, so I wasn't able to do as much as I wanted to. But the Environmental Commission, along with the team for Silver Lake, has been meeting a lot. We've also been reaching out to a lot of different experts about the status of the lake as an entire ecosystem. So that's included 2 different areas from Monmouth University, that's CLONET, which is, hold on, because I always forget this acronym, the Coastal Lakes Observing Network, and the Urban Coast Institute, along with people from Rutgers and private lake management firms. We have some really ambitious plans. I don't know how far they will go, but I would say our goal is to first really do a long, hard look at the lake, how it's changed since Sandy, because the makeup of the water itself has changed since Sandy, what that means for the ecosystem and how we can revitalize it, and not just in terms of goose poop, but the lake as a whole, and not just, like I said, for the beauty of the lake, but also for things like storm preparedness, and other environmental restoration. So hopefully next week I can talk more about that, maybe even have a presentation, but I wanted to assure everyone that we're really looking into and doing a lot of hard work there. So.
Anyone else for workshop?
I have one more thing, Mayor. At the last Harbor Commission meeting, it was recommended that we install some type of benches along 9th Ave Pier. We get a lot of senior citizens in that area going to see the sunset or waiting to get on fishing boats. And there's really no sort of seating area for them along the public space in 9th Ave Pier. So, Billy, I'll talk to you separately, but it'd be interesting to see what we could do about maybe doing some memorial benches there, similar to what we have on the boardwalk. Just to offer some seating for the people who are there waiting for boats.
All right, we can discuss that. Sure.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to petitions. Any petitions, April?
No, I did not receive any.
Okay, approval of minutes.
Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 22nd, 2023 meeting?
Motion?
Second?
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckfusco?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Okay, reports of council. I guess we'll start with Councilwoman Donovan.
We've had a very, very busy, 2 or 3 weeks here, and I'll start with the Belmar 5 and the Belmar Kids Run. Thank you to all the borough's staff and everyone who participated, both the Kids Run and the Belmar 5 itself were beautiful events. We had great weather. I know my kids have loved the Belmar 5. They loved their Sonic the Hedgehog t-shirts and the medals. I hobbled my way through it. I have a lot of admiration for everyone who did more than hobbled and for people who felt even worse than I did. But thank you to all the borough staff. We also have, we had a very busy weekend. I'm gonna let everyone else here talk about their favorite events, but I will say that we had 3 beautiful 9/11 memorials yesterday, all in their own distinct ways. In my own way, my favorite was the one last night with the rain coming down and the lights going up into the sky. It was really, really beautiful. So thank you again to all the staff who made that happen. On Saturday, we began the San Gennaro festivities with a 10 a.m. mass at St. Rose, followed by a procession down Main Street where the festival will begin at 11 a.m. There'll be a cannoli eating contest at noon for all of you who would like to participate in that. They are still accepting participants. Produce Pete will be signing books from 12 to 2, and there will be a doggy costume contest at 3 p.m. Okay. Along with local vendors and organizations, notably, we will honor Diane Chaffee Mayer, the Belmar BAC administrator, as the daughter of San Gennaro, and Barry Trugo, our Belmar rec director, as the son of San Gennaro. The businessman will be Nick Lucilli, and the daughter will be Jacqueline DeRouge from Daffodil Consignment. So we look forward to honoring all of our residents this weekend. I hope you can come out. Oh, I'm sorry, Jody. One more thing. I was asked to let everyone know that early October, I believe it was the 2nd, Monmouth County Office of Emergency Management is offering their Community Emergency Response Team training. You can look that up. It's a way to volunteer to train in basic disaster response skills like fire safety, light search and rescue, team organization, and disaster and medical operations. So please look into it if you're interested.
Okay, Councilwoman Kinney.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so Recreation and Parks and Recreation, they did their health and fitness weekly schedule can be found on the website, belmar.com. Go to recreation, and it's under exercise and yoga. All the classes are back in Taylor Pavilion. Belmar Youth Soccer is happening right now, and there is nothing else really to report on there. I did forget to mention the ADA committee, in conjunction with the Circle of Friends, did a presentation for the Belmar Kids Belmar Camp this summer. And it was all about anti-bullying, acceptance of kids with special needs. And it went really, really well. And it was well presented, and all the kids really got involved. It was very interactive. You know, they put blindfolds on kids. They let the kids use all the ADA equipment, and so it was really good. And the best part about it, it was free. So they hope to be able to do that presentation for the campers every summer. Shade Tree Commission wants to remind everybody that the resident tree buying, beautiful Belmar tree buying program is happening now. There's order forms at the entrance of both Borough Hall and the library. Large trees, medium trees, small trees, different prices. The order forms are there. And they do hope to have all their checks received by September 22nd. So if you want to plant a tree in your yard, please go find your order form for that. Next Shade Tree Commission meeting is actually this Thursday here at 6:30. And then around the schools, St. Rose Grammar School, everybody's back in school since last week. Their back to school night is tomorrow. St. Rose High School is having their inaugural ball. It's a school-wide dance for all students recognizing the student council. That's this Friday. And September 21st is back to school night for St. Rose High School. Wednesday, October 18th is the high school open house, if anybody's interested in learning more about St. Rose High School. And don't forget that the 100th anniversary Centennial Gala happens this year, the 100th anniversary of St. Rose High School. The gala is November 11th. You can find more information out about that on the website. And Belmar Elementary, they're back to school. They were back to school last Tuesday. The Scholastic Book Fair is September 25th to the 29th, and back to school night is September 28th. I just wanted to make a couple quick comments on the beach too this summer. Thank you everybody who made it such a successful beach season, from the badge checkers to DPW, the police department, especially our lifeguards. They did such an outstanding job. You know, having this one fatality was because they were off duty, right? So we didn't have any while they were on duty, which is a great testament to our great water safety and lifeguards up there at the beach. And they had, we hosted Meters for Mike. Harry Harson and the lifeguards hosted, this is a 1 mile ocean swim that helps raise money for Brain Injury Alliance of New Jersey. Mike Heaney is a swimmer who suffered a traumatic brain injury. He passed away in 2013. They've been doing this race for the past 12 years. In his honor, over 600 participants came out, so that was really, really great to see. And I know the Belmar Pro is happening. Unfortunately, the waves were not so great this weekend, but it was nice to see a good turnout up at the Belmar Pro. And then lastly, the Belmar Skate Park. We finally figured out our credit card processing, and we'll be accepting donations starting this weekend at San Gennaro. Come find our table. The Belmar Skate Park is going to have a table up at the San Gennaro Festival. It's all going live. We're going to be able to accept all donations, and we're getting our fundraiser going, so fundraising going for that, so that's really exciting. We're excited to see things, you know, moving along on that front. So come out and look for the skate park table at San Gennaro. And I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Council President Letts.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to make sure everyone's aware that the National Weather Service has a high current risk advisory in place right now. Hurricane Lee is way offshore, so we're not gonna see any effects in terms of stormy weather from it, but there's going to be very high surf, at least until Saturday or Sunday. So anyone thinking about swimming, don't. It's really bad, even right now, so please be careful if you're considering going in the water. Lifeguards are off duty now, so there's no one there to help you except for the occasional surfer. In other news, tomorrow at 7 p.m. is the Belmar Elementary PTO Spaghetti Dinner, where we'll also be honoring the sons and daughters of San Gennaro, and businesswoman and businessman of San Gennaro as well. And as Councilman Donovan noted, it's not too late to sign up for the cannoli eating contest. I will be going head to head with Mayor Buckapusco to see who can do more cannolis.
Okay, challenge.
On.
It's on.
That's all I have.
Take on the cannoli.
I would just like to echo Councilwoman Kinney's comments regarding this summer on the beach season. We had a great season, primarily, again, due to the hard work of our, lifeguards, the water rescue teams, the people who work on the boardwalk, the veg checkers, and, our EMTs who are always there to help, as they had to do on September 3rd, and are the first responders, and also DPW, starting from the beginning of the year with the bathroom issue, and doing a great job on all of these events. I've gotten nothing but compliments from the individuals who were running the events, especially this last week. And you should know that they really appreciate the DPW's help. So it was a good season, and again, thanks to everyone who really made it happen. And I think that's all I have at this point.
Okay, next is public session on the resolutions. If anyone would like to comment about a resolution listed on the agenda, please step forward and remember to state your name and address first. Can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckapusco?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Next is public hearing and second reading on ordinance 2023-18. This is an ordinance amending chapter 4, section 4, establishing library fees. It's open for public comment. If anyone would like to speak, please step forward, state your name and address. Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion. No.
Sorry. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-18?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckapusco?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
All right, next is public session. Again, if anyone would like to speak, please step forward, state your name and address first.
Linda Sharkus, 4th Avenue. I have 2 points I'd like to discuss. The first one is, could you have an update on what's going on with the piano and when we'll be seeing it in the Piano Plaza?
Oh, do you want me to? I can do it.
Okay.
We're to the point where, and again, this is not a borough. This is for the Arts Council. But I understand that it's to the point where the contract will be signed and will be sent to the company in Israel with the payment of half of the price of the piano. Once they receive that, they will start production on the piano, which I believe we said was like 10 weeks. 8 to 10 weeks. Once they finish production, they will ship it to the United States. We will take a look at it, make sure everything is okay. They'll get the rest of their payment, and then it'll come to the borough for installation. So I think you're looking at probably at least 10, 11, 12 weeks before we will have it actually here in Belmar.
Okay, so right now, the Art Council has all the approvals from the borough to place the order. It was my understanding that hadn't happened.
There's no approvals from the borough needed because it's purchased through the Belmar Arts Council.
Okay, and what about the other money that was supposed to be raised for the maintenance, the cameras, the videos, the other equipment and installation that was required to prepare the site for installation of this?
Why don't you take that?
Yeah, there's gonna be, excuse me, there'll be a phase two, part of this project. Phase one was to raise the money to purchase the piano. Phase two will be for all the site work and installation.
So why, if we're expecting it in, 12 weeks, why wouldn't we be raising the money so we could get that prepared before the piano arrives? Seems like we should have that money to be moving forward.
We will have that money by the time it's ready to go.
What about when, so it's not the money, it's having the work done, so the piano can be installed near the Christmas tree, as if it's our gift for Christmas?
Correct, the site will be ready when the piano is delivered.
Okay, and where's it gonna be installed?
In Piano Plaza.
Near, where? The center of the plaza?
Yeah, that's up for discussion, but David Sanchez will be in sometime in October, and he's gonna tell us exactly where he would like to see his piano going.
That's great, thank you. And then the next, I was wondering, where do things stand with the installation of the Mermaid over on the entrance on 10th Avenue? It's been a few meetings since.
That I don't have an answer for, maybe
It's, we're looking to put it at the intersection of 10th and 35, and I just met out there last week with JCP&L, and they're in the process of finding electric in that island, and then once that's done, then we have to get a contractor in to put a service there, and then a contractor in town, Nicholas Enterprises, he's the one that's gonna build the footing and the site work, so once all that's done, he can start.
That's great. Is that gonna be ready for Christmas?
I hope so.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Vicki Renner, 1106 D Street. Well, Mermaid was number 4 on my list of things, so she just brought that up, but I'm happy to hear it's going over to 10th and 35. And also, I'm not sure if anybody's aware, but there was a base to that thing. It's on my phone, when I originally found it for the town to get it. And it was a very big bottom to set the base on. When it was over at the plaza, it looked like a fish pond. It was like looking for Waldo, like where's Waldo? You couldn't even see it. So I'm happy you're moving it. I have a picture of the base. Maybe we could find out if the base was picked up originally when we received it. Because it used to be on Inlet Terrace, and when you went out with your boat, it was on a hill, so it looked a lot bigger than when it got here. And when it was put at the plaza, it really so insignificant to what could be done with it.
Sorry,
And,
I'm sorry.
no, they had landscaping and lighting around it, which also enhanced it, and I think it's a beautiful addition to coming over the bridge and an entrance to the town. That's pretty much how I originally had pictured it when it was offered to us.
Yeah, we would have to look and see if that base came with it, but it's been a number of years since the town has had that.
We
No,
do,
no,
we have
it's got it.
we have the base.
Oh, you do have
Yeah,
the base?
the actual plastic pond and the base was both over on the property, and we have the base in the yard, but I believe when it goes on to 10th and 35, they're gonna build a custom like concrete footing for it that's gonna elevate it. So
Okay.
it won't be that metal brass base, but it'll be something decorative.
Okay, because I have a picture, like I said, on my phone. I can show you what it actually looked like originally.
Yeah, we actually have the base
Okay.
in our public works yard still.
Okay, so the original reason I came here, tonight was to ask the town how we are handling the homeless in this community. And the reason I'm bringing it up is, over the weekend, I was approached in my neighborhood by quite a few different homeless people. And they're different ages. There's a couple, there's a person that was yelling into her cell phone. So it's a cross between some mentally ill, and then there's people, the couple that just needs help. And I gave them food, I gave them clothes, I gave them a suitcase, I gave everything I could think of giving to somebody. And I spoke to one of the police officers to see what's in place. I called the town originally. They said we do not offer, we used to have, I think Carolyn Sharrock was in charge of social services years ago. And I was advised, my phone call was advised to go to call the county. So I did. And they have a cell phone, and some of them have cell phones, but I was on hold for 35 minutes. And if I was homeless, and I needed a shower, or I needed food, and I wasn't thinking correctly, I would be on hold for 35 minutes to the county and praying to Jesus that my battery wasn't gonna die. So it's disgusting in 2023 that, I'm not saying just Belmar, I'm suggesting that whether, I was also advised, I called St. Rose, which offers food on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think Asbury Park offers food on Sundays, but you have to take the train there. And nothing was set in stone that if they actually got to Asbury that their food was gonna be there. My point is, one person, me, trying to do all this, there's like 4 pages I have of pastors and churches and this and that. There's no communication skills developed or set in place. And I'm talking between Belmar, Bradley Beach, Asbury Park, Wall Township, whether it's Spring Lake Heights, I'm not sure, I'm sure everybody has similar situations. I don't know the number in each community. But what I would like to see happen, and I would be happy to attend, is have a meeting of the minds of the mayors, or mayor and council, someone represented from each of these towns, get together, maybe with the police, maybe with the pastors that are actively doing something, handing out food, handing out clothing, and let's make it one hub, like one place where if I see someone and they say, can you help me? And I make the phone call, they get help. There's no shelter that I was able to connect, except I made a reach out. I have someone else maybe dropping off tents to me. I was told Lakewood's tent village is gone and they moved it someplace else. Now there's another one in Neptune City. I still haven't gotten tent donations to help the person I was trying to help. There's another church that does blessing bags, you know, deodorant, brush your teeth, shavers or whatever. I just can't believe that I couldn't get any help.
I think it's a great idea. I think we also need to bring in, you know, Monmouth County Social Services.
That's right.
And the Health Department, which they are our health department in Monmouth County. And I think we can definitely coordinate something like that because it is a problem. It's a problem in many, many communities.
First, I want to thank you for everything you've done because that's above and beyond. I want to say I work for a charity, and I mean between inflation, there was the news that came out today that child poverty has doubled. I work for a health care organization, and in the last year, usually our #1 request is to do with hospital bills, and this year for the first time it was cost of living expenses. So things aren't good, and if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're probably living beyond paycheck to paycheck right now, and it's hard because a lot of the homeless shelters and other aid agencies are contingent about being something, like you have to be a woman who is pregnant or a woman with a young child. I know adult males can be sometimes. I know there's a place over in Asbury, but it's really hard to match. I would love to be part of this, and I can try and bring in some of the professional resources I have access to, because I think you're 100% right, and it's an odd thing, I don't know about you guys, but just this past week alone, I've had multiple people talk to me about homeless issues in the borough. And it's sad, it's incredibly sad, so thank you.
Yeah, I understand some people don't want help and they do just wanna wander around, and I think there are places that will give them, you know, bagel or something to eat, and the man that just passed away, a few months ago, he was always fed and this and that, and he, I guess, chose to stay that way. But the people who don't wanna choose, don't want that, and just need help to get back on their feet, there's gotta be a system between communities to help each other for placement, to protect these people. Women, I understand there's places for women, there's places for men. I called Jersey Shore Rescue, which is basically for men, but I was told they do help a couple, and I haven't heard from them. Nobody returns your call. And if I was on the street, I'd be real tired by now after, Saturday and Sunday, today's Tuesday. So whatever you put together, I'm sure you know where to reach me. I would be more than happy to be a part of it, to put this together. And Tina, if you want to be part of it, Chief Scott, I would be, more than willing to work with whoever and get something in place so all the things that can be available instantly, not instantly, I know some things take a little time, but I like things instantly. And if we can get it done, that would be great. So that's what I really basically came for. I'm glad the mermaid thing is being discussed. And I did have an idea. I was going to run for council, but I'm sure there are some people that are very happy I'm not. But one of the things I really wanted to get into if I did run was everybody that comes to the town meeting steps up and presents a problem or things that concern them to the council. And you're only 4 or 5 people sitting up there, each person, there's only so much you can go after. So what I would suggest is a network. Years ago I created the neighborhood network, and from that we got community policing, we got a lot of different things. And it used to work in, I think, a much better system in a way that it was designed for, the way I designed it in my brain for it to work. So going back to that layout, anybody that comes up to this mic and says, I really wish my curbs were painted, I really wish this would happen, I can't understand why we don't have garbage cans by the, where they fish off the rocks, anything that comes up, that person can be designated for that problem. And as a board, you can tell that person who's in charge to correct that problem. Then, in a month, they would, or if you want to make, I'd give it a month. I know we have 2 meetings a month. But you could come monthly and report back. The person could report back and say, look, we got the curbs painted. And if they're not painted, and so-and-so still has to figure it out, then you would say, well, they'll be painted every March. They'll be painted every April. The garbage cans, so-and-so DPW has to get them, or we have to order them. But somebody who brings up a problem would have to be a part of the solution in solving it by keeping it forefront because it's important to them and the community. And accountability from who's ever in charge in the government would have to also be accountable to the people and say how this will be resolved so that we could get all these small projects and things that people are concerned of, get them all done. So that was an idea. I guess I'll be back in a month to see if you guys want to do that idea. You mentioned also with the, I forgot this one. We were talking about the environment, and I was also wondering, being on the Environmental Commission, I think Councilman Donovan brought up things with the lake. I'm also curious to see if we have taken any stand on the wind turbines in the ocean, to also take a stand on that, because I sure as hell don't want them. And any neighboring towns, are we also standing behind them to support them, because many people don't want them. I didn't know the ocean was for sale.
I don't think the borough has taken an official stance on.
I wish we
on
would.
the,
I wish, as mayor, I hope you decide to take a stand and be against something that's going to ruin our precious ocean and all the sea life that has been showing up dead for the first time that I've lived here for 45 years. It's disgusting. So I guess as a mayor, you would be the one that would have to take a stand
Well, I would,
or support the
make
people.
it a council
Okay,
decision.
council and mayor would be great if everybody would be on the same page with that. And then the last thing was the swimming, after hours swimming. A lot of people that don't have $8 to $10 per person to go to the beach wait till 5 o'clock. Go up to the beach to go swimming. It's the same thing with the homeless thing, it's a matter of money. So some people wait for that, and that's when they go up there. I understand lifeguards, it's a time frame. We have rescue and everything else, but are we clear as a community at our gates, once the beach is closed and there's a rip tide, or the water is way too rough when the lifeguards are there, we had a horrible couple days where, are we very clear entering on every single gate onto the beach that says, don't do this, it's dangerous, you could die? Are there red flags out there every single time we don't do that? How do we communicate with someone who doesn't live here, doesn't understand how dangerous that water is, and lose their life?
I'm not exactly sure what is posted at each beach entrance. I know the sign turned over and it said beach is closed, but
That's not
I
good
don't know
enough.
exactly what signage is there to tell people that they shouldn't be swimming or they should be swimming. But we can definitely look into that.
We have
Again,
those
they-
things, I think, at each gate, right, like for notices or whatever, like,
Yes.
even if it's on the chalk, whatever it is,
Mhm.
red chalk that says red flag, or stick red flag and says, don't do this.
Yeah, if I can make a comment, I heard today from a person who lives in Point Pleasant, they literally put chains across, like gates across their steps. They don't let people, they lock them and they don't let them open. So, I don't know, as obstructive as that sounds, I get it, but when there's gonna be 18-foot surf, you might wanna
I don't,
deter people somehow, I get it.
in my opinion, like, blocking the beach, which is public access at that time, I don't think that's the answer. I just think that
I think it generally needs to be.
letting people who are naive to what the ocean can do or does do, and you're hot, it's, hot night, you come down from someplace that you don't get to do this often, it's off hours. To me, red flags and saying it, on our boards at our gates would be a clear indication, just like when swim at your own risk or, red flags, I think would certainly be communication to people who speak all languages that it's not a good idea to go in at the ocean. And I think that's it.
There actually are lifeguard off-duty signs up right now. There are RIP signs up, and during the course of the winter, there are danger signs that we post as well. The lifeguard signs don't stay up all winter, otherwise they'd be destroyed, but they are up for the next.
Is there anything on, the
3 to
lifeguard
4
stands
weeks.
that go down? I wonder
Yeah.
when they go down, if there's something on the backs of them, I don't know, just something to make it clear, because I'm guessing people, for some reason, are not getting the message.
I think part of the solution is really not in our hands. A lot of it is just due to overall education of people as they come through our educational system. I don't think it's emphasized enough how dangerous the ocean can be. So if you're living in an area where you're not near the ocean, you're not aware of the dangers. And obviously, in schools and high schools and elementary schools, they probably should be putting a unit or something together on how the ocean is beautiful, but it's also very dangerous. And I think that's really the start at which we can get people to understand how beautiful the ocean can be and how refreshing it can be to go into it. But when there's no lifeguards there, you're really taking a chance to go in the water. So that's probably the first step. I mean, obviously we can do that, at our elementary school, but I think we're preaching to the choir there because most of the children obviously live in the area, so so they're aware of that. It's people who are coming from, you know, interior New Jersey or Pennsylvania or whatever. And I think that's, you know, something maybe we can suggest, you know, if we go to, you know, Monmouth County School Board issues and whatever, we can just say, you know what, guys, just
Maybe
put
part of
a
a health
unit.
program
you
or
know.
something, life-saving,
Yeah.
not maybe. But in any case, it's Tuesday, and I would hope for a phone call before the weekend, because this homeless thing is the top priority. The people that I spoke with have not had shelter since July, without being any place to sleep. So I would appreciate any phone calls and how
Can I ask
to
you a
rectify
question
this.
about that? Do you have, a list of, did you call different towns?
Pardon me?
Did you call different towns?
No.
Along with this, I was gonna
No,
ask you
this
if
happened to
different
me on
towns.
Saturday, and like I said, I have 5 pages of, I must have made, I don't know, 10, 15 phone calls.
Yeah,
And I got nowhere.
yeah, I was more wondering if you already had a list of towns you reached out to who had a point person, if not.
Well, no, the reason I brought up the other towns, I was told Asbury Park around us probably has the best, options.
Yeah.
But I called 5 different people in Asbury and spoke to the police there too, and they gave me a man to call, you know, this and that. And again, I'm calling all these things, like all these channels, and there's got to be a way we all talk to each other. Because I don't know if the answer is giving everybody, you know, a train ride to Asbury Park and dumping it all, that problem over there. Is that the solution? Because it seems that's, for years, that's what everybody does. They just put people on trains to come to Belmar, and then they take them out of Belmar and they send them someplace else, and they're, you know, mystery bus ride everywhere. So, anyway, it's Tuesday, like I said, a call from anybody tomorrow would be great. Thank you.
My name is Kevin Maroney. I live at 619 11th Avenue. As you can tell, I'm a member of the fire department. I'm here today in my capacity as president of Belmar Volunteer Hook and Ladder. As I'm sure you all know, we've been without full power at the Firehouse for 69 days now. We met with the mayor and the business administrator on Friday, July 21st, and we attended the July 25th council meeting as well. We covered a number of topics in our private meeting, and some of them have been resolved. One of them that has not been resolved is the current state of the Firehouse on 11th Avenue, the home of Hook and Ladder. That's what I'm here to talk about. We are assured both in the July 21st and July 25th meeting that the town was going to work in haste to get us back up and operational as soon as possible. We were told by the business administrator on multiple occasions that they just needed to get the B quotes and they were going to get started on the work. Hook and Ladder even assisted in that process by contacting a contractor who provided a quote a few days later. Hook and Ladder then asked on a regular basis what the status was of the incoming quotes. We were told a number of times that we are just waiting for the other contractors to come down and look at it, and then we will get started. We actually have email proof of this claim. Weeks went by with no action, no progress, and no communication. Despite continuous unanswered outreach from Hook and Ladder, it eventually came to our attention that the town was going to engage an electrical engineer to look at the issue and develop a scope of work which would further delay the project. Our issue with this information is as follows. If this was needed from the beginning, it should have been done immediately. We should not have waited over a month to start that part of the process. We were never informed by the town mayor or business administrator. We found out secondhand, despite being assured that the entire process would be transparent and that we would be part of the process. The town came down to the Firehouse without notifying us or consulting us, despite the fact that they have no idea how the Firehouse is used, the history of the Firehouse, which is relevant to the scope of the work, the quirks of the building that the members of the company are intimately aware of, and what we need to be fully operational. Frankly, they had subject matter experts willing and able to assist, and they completely discounted that. I happened to be working from home that day, and once I saw that they were there, I inserted myself into the meeting. One of the things that has been most evident is that throughout this process, there has been a complete lack of respect for the members of Hook and Ladder, who, let's remember, do this job for free. The lack of respect in the first visit of the engineer is most evident in an exchange that I had with the business administrator soon after I arrived that day. conversation that follows. Mr. Kane, I would have expected to have heard from you. Mr. Kane, you knew we were coming. Me, I still would have expected to hear from you. Kane, you called everyone and their brother. You knew we were coming. Me, yes I did. This is what happens when you don't communicate. I called people. So just to summarize, the business administrator of this town was openly hostile to one of the residents of the town, a taxpayer, a lieutenant, and a president of one of your fully volunteer fire companies. He was angry with me because I called members of this council when the business administrator did not follow through on his assurances of transparency. Mr. Mayor, the business administrator's behavior should concern you. There was a second walkthrough of the firehouse a few weeks ago by the engineer to do a thorough inspection for preparation of the scope of work. And again, we were neither informed nor invited. When I became aware of that meeting, I contacted my captain, another resident, Bob Pollock, and he inserted himself in that meeting. So again, no notice or invitation for us. Your subject matter experts on the firehouse. In the July 25th council meeting, multiple members sitting on the dais right now expressed how much they appreciated and respected the fire department. And that was reiterated strongly by the mayor, which we appreciated. Not being even invited to a meeting about the building that we need to respond out of so that the residents of Belmar can continue to benefit from the free service that we provide is shameful. Mr. Mayor, that doesn't sound like respect to me. We have responded all summer out of that building through 3 different heat waves without any air conditioning, in addition to having 2 company business meetings in the driveway. During the whole time, not a single call from either the mayor or the BA about how we were doing or if we needed anything. During this entire process, with the exception of a couple of email exchanges immediately after we met on the Friday the 21st, the business administrator has been completely non-communicative. And let's not pretend that if we had not gone to social media with our complaints, even this level of communication would not have happened. The BA's lack of communication should not come as a surprise to the members of the council or you, Mr. Mayor. I watch the meetings regularly on video, and there have been a parade of residents since the beginning of the year stating that the BA does not respond to emails or requests of any kind. I have with me today a copy of an email I sent to the administrator, Kane, asking for assistance for multiple issues that are extremely pressing, and I made sure to highlight them as health and safety issues, which they are. One of the issues is a broken plywood vent in one of our bays. For those who don't know, this is a device that exhausts diesel fumes from the truck to the outside of the firehouse and is required so as not to expose firefighters to known carcinogens in diesel smoke. In addition to citing the NFPA standard that covers this, I also included a court case from Jersey City showing that failure to take action on this issue leaves the town open to significant litigation. He never responded. I do have copies of that email if anybody would like to see it. The way that the power issue has been handled from the beginning is part and parcel to the way Mr. Kane conducts the business of this town. And at this point is reflecting on you, Mr. Mayor, and you, the members of the council. The power issue has either been ignored, put on the back burner, or completely mismanaged. I will leave it up to you to decide which of those choices is correct. The BA has claimed many times that we are being impatient and just don't understand the process. But just to give you a little background on myself, I'm an energy consultant for a major energy efficiency contractor in the Northeast. I write RFPs for any energy projects and then act as the project manager for those projects every day of the week. My average scope of work per job is in the $400,000 to $500,000 range. I also manage other project managers for smaller projects in the $75,000 to $150,000 range. And I can tell you this, if one of my project managers had let a project of this size take this long for an entity that provides emergency services, he would no longer be one of my project managers. The fact that Mr. Kane claims that we don't understand is frankly insulting, and even if we didn't, wouldn't it be incumbent upon him to make sure we did? We have members that have degrees in fire science, we have career firefighters, we have younger members looking to be career firefighters. We have fire instructors on staff, as well as small business owners, chemists, and other members very accomplished in the fields. Trust me, Mr. Kane, we understand. My personal view is that Mr. King feels that we are just not worthy of his time, and based on what I see on the meeting videos, that is a widely shared view in this town. I could have come down here with my whole company in uniform to make an impact, but tonight is drill night, and the men need to drill. This will be the first drill I witnessed all year. As we speak, the members are at the Monmouth County Fire Academy doing a required live burn drill. They are in an 800 to 1100 degree room practicing on their own personal time the skills that are required to keep this community safe. And just so everyone understands, we must meet the exact same standards as career firefighters. There is no difference in the level of training and state certification for volunteer or career. We take our roles as protectors of this community seriously, but that urgency seems lost on the VA. A significant portion of our members are residents and taxpayers and voters. We also have members that live out of town but choose to provide a free service for Belmar. Mr. Kane does not live in town. He is not one of us. Our entire fire department is $79,000 for all three companies, totaling about 50 plus active members, and that's for an entire year. We frequently run out of money by October or November. Mr. Kane gets paid very well for his position. The difference is that the fire department does their job. It's now time for the mayor and council to make sure Mr. Kane does his or find someone who will. Thank you.
Members of
Excuse me.
go ahead, Jerry.
Just for the public's education perhaps, or just to fill in some of the gaps, I'd like to let everyone know, number one, that we have a Department of Public Safety in Belmar that's composed of 3 divisions: the Police Division, the Fire Division, and the EMT Division. And the Public Safety Director is our chief, Team Scott. And in the scheme of, chain of command, as exists in all of these paramilitary groups like the police and the fire, you go up the chain of command generally when you have an issue, okay? So I do understand that we're missing a fire administrator, because that is the in-between person between the fire department, the division of the fire department, and the chief, right? So my first thing is that the proper chain of command for the fire department is to go through the director of public safety, okay? That's number one. Number two, I'd like the residents to know that Belmar, the borough of Belmar, owns each of those firehouses, okay? Goodwill, Union, and Hook and Ladder, okay? All of the equipment in that firehouse, all of the fire trucks are owned by the borough of Belmar, okay? There's nothing in the ordinances of Belmar that says we must have a certain number of firehouses. All right? What it says is that Belmar is responsible for providing a place to store fire equipment, fire trucks, okay? But, so I just want everyone to understand that that's the picture that we have, okay? God forbid if there was a fire in one of our firehouses and it destroyed it, that company would have to be redistributed to the other 2 firehouses, because that's all we have. So, I think to get to the specific question about the repair of the electric, we had to come up with a decision as to whether or not we were going to repair it or not. Because again, it's like when you're dealing with an old house, at some point, you can do repairs, but at some point you get to the point where, it's just easier to start from scratch and knock it down. But we decided that there was enough still there that we would engage, a contractor or contractors to repair the wiring. Right? It has taken time because people are not waiting for Belmar to call them to do scope of services things to come up with quotes. If you own a home, you know how hard it is to get contractors to come in. Okay, so that's part of the delay. The second part of the delay was, yes, we didn't initially think we could just go out and hire someone and fix it, but as we got into it, we realized, no, we really need a scope of services so that people who are giving us prices are all bidding on the exact same repairs or installation that we want. So yes, it did take time, okay? As to the safety, no one has ever told me that Belmar is in an unsafe condition because of the electrical problems in the hook and ladder firehouse, okay? If they did, then my response would be reassign hook and ladder equipment, personnel, and fire trucks to the other two firehouses. Right? We have that option. Okay? No one has told me that. If you want to tell me that tonight, then I will suggest to the public safety director that we meet tomorrow and we reassign that personnel out so that residents of Belmar are 100% safe. Okay? Now, as to the getting back and forth with Mr. Kane, again, you should be following the chain of command. You should be going to the fire administrator, which we don't have, there's actually a notice of vacancy going out probably tomorrow to get that person, on board. I would think that from now on, the proper protocol is for you to go through the chief as the director of public safety. Okay, I oversee everyone. Okay, so if you can't work out your issues with the chief, then it's time that we have a meeting, the fire chief, Chief Scott, and myself, as to what needs to be done. Okay, the firehouse will be fixed. Okay, it will be repaired. We will spend, I don't know, we didn't get quotes yet on it, but the wiring in that firehouse, which has been there probably for the last 50 or 60 years, will be fixed. Okay, so rest assured of that. I know you're out of patience, but again, I have to think about the residents of Belmar, and my primary concern is that our fire response, the safety of the residents are paramount. And if you can't work out of that building the way it is right now, then I'm going to ask the chief to meet with the director and say, reassign that staff, and then we won't have an issue about how long it takes to get it fixed. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. I also have can you wait till I finish, please, sir?
Sure.
Thank you. I also have, I've said it 100 times, if you have an issue, you can contact me. Okay, that has not happened. Okay. Second of all, the matter of respect. Respect works both ways. Okay? Putting that ad up on Facebook was disrespectful. Okay? That was. We should not be discussing management decisions in a public meeting. Okay? You don't see the assistant chief of police coming up here, I don't think we have one, coming up here complaining about what's going on in the police department. Okay? You're a division of the Department of Public Safety. Right? This is a management decision. Right? You don't need to come to a public hearing unless you think you're putting pressure on us to do something. Well, it's not going to work. Okay? Things are going to get done in the order that we can do them, and as quickly as we can do them. Okay? So, can you please sit down?
No.
Sit down.
I'll wait.
Nobody stands. It's just out of a matter of respect. Sit down.
Sit down.
Thank you. So that's my take on it. 2 or 3 months from now, you'll see the electric will have been repaired. Everybody will be back in their firehouses. But I will, I think the primary thing we need to focus on here is that our fighting fire ability is where it should be, and if it's not, then we need to take action to do that. The repair of the firehouse will happen, okay? The respect issue, we can talk offline about that, but, you know, I asked for information at that first meeting about the scuba gear that needed to be replaced and the dates that we needed them. We never got that. I asked the chief on the night that that posting went up to meet with me the next morning at 11:30 in my office, never got a call. Even explaining why he couldn't come. Okay, is that chain of command? Is that how you work? When the mayor tells, not just me, any mayor, tells a division, a chief, that I want to meet with you the next day, and you just ignore him?
You ignore us.
That's not respect.
There's no respect.
To threaten not to have a meeting with us because a lawyer is going to sit in with us? That's respect?
No.
We're not going to meet with you unless we have our lawyer here, okay? See, you guys don't know about that. But, you know, we were all prepared. I probably wasn't going to be able to come to the meeting, and Mr. McGill was ready to sit in at the meeting. And when they found out Mr. McGill was going to be at the meeting, oh, we're not going to meet with you because we want our own attorney here. What are we doing here? You know, that's not how it works, folks. So when they talk about respect, you know, it does work both ways. And I think we've bent over backwards to respect what they want and what they have gotten, right? Their equipment is ordered, it's going to be coming in. I asked for a list of firefighters and their addresses. All I got was a list of firefighter names. Okay, so, you know, you have to accommodate, you know, especially when you're looking at, you know, your superiors and the chain of command. So I think the firehouse will be fixed. It will be done properly. It will be done, you know, in accordance with, you know, bidding. We'll get the best price to do it. And like I said, in a couple of months, that'll be that. But, you know, I think this whole issue of respect is overblown. And I think, as I said, it works both ways. And, you know, I don't expect people from assistant directors from DPW or from whatever to stand up here and complain about what is going on within the department, right? Those are things that are management-related issues that should be held within the structure of the borough administration. Okay, so that's my position. Like I said, we're working as fast as we can to get the electricity fixed. The knob and tube wiring has been in there for years. I'm surprised that no one had ever noticed it before because there were renovations done in that building. But once again, you know, we were the ones who, you know, found out about it because of a potential, could have been a potential fire, and we're going to fix it. Okay, so that's my position on this issue. It will be fixed. When it gets fixed, it might be a week. We might get quotes in a week, 2 weeks. I don't know if we have a time span on when we're going to get the quotes. You know, Mr. King.
The scope should be Friday.
The scope is coming in on Friday, and then what's the next plan? To go out and
Send it out to the contractors.
send it out to the contractors. We have 5 contractors, so that'll be going out like Monday or Tuesday of next week. And how much time are we giving them to bring it back to us?
Within a week.
Within a week. And we can do this all on an emergency basis, correct? All right, so hopefully within the next week and a half, we will have quotes back. At that point, we can come and we can award a contract to repair the electricity. And then we don't know how long that's going to take because it's a fairly big job. I don't know, are they rewiring the entire building or is it just certain aspects of it?
Depends on the scope.
Okay, we have to look at the scope. And that was the initial issue. Because we were getting the sense that other people were saying this had to be done, that had to be done. And in order to do it the correct way, we wanted to get an expert opinion to lay out the scope. So this way we would get the price for the repairs that we wanted, the same price, the same basis for every contractor that comes in. Okay, Councilman.
Mayor, as an individual council member, I have to disagree with your position, and I don't share in the position that you've taken in terms of saying that the firefighters should go to all one firehouse, or we should shut that firehouse down. And quite frankly, I'm concerned with the time it's taken for these repairs to get done. And hearing about communication issues, as a governing body, I am just one council member, but as a council as a whole, we have the authority to investigate any department within this government. So I would make a motion to request formally all written communications and phone communications that have happened since June until present day regarding the Goodwill Fire Company. We'd like to see everything internal and external for the entire council to review so that we can come to our own educated decision on this, because we haven't gotten a lot of information on this as well. So it would behoove us, so I would like to formally make that motion for us to have those written communications.
Before we do that, though, I don't know that, I'm not sure if we need to assign someone to do the investigating, because
Point of
the
order,
council,
Mr. Mayor.
please sit
There's a
down,
motion on
please
the
sit
floor.
down, this is
There's
not,
a motion on
this
the
is not.
floor.
Right.
No comment. We need a second.
We seconded it.
We
Do we have a
second.
second?
Second.
We got a motion.
Second, I'll second the motion.
All right.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckles?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Now, can I speak?
Yes.
I think we need to look at how that investigation should proceed. And I think I would ask council to come up with a plan on how that investigation should proceed. Okay. That's fine. It's just, I was curious, I was concerned about how that was gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, there may be some, employment-related issues and so forth. There might be some employment-related issues that might be involved, so I think, a little bit of care would be necessary here. But we'll get rid of it.
Okay, that's fine. Anyone else? Oh, this jump on this.
Stan? Yes.
Yeah. name and
Sean
address,
DeZoma,
please.
1239 Oakwood Road. Mr. Mayor, I guess my first question to you is, well, my first comment to you is, respect is earned, right? Not
Excuse me, I
given.
missed that first.
Respect is earned. You're talking about respect. And I don't think you've earned the respect of most of the people in this town, especially not the fire department. When they're there for 65 days without power, meaning they're answering calls, and while they're putting their gear on, they could potentially fall, break an arm, break a leg. When they're willing to run into your house and save your life and your family's life and put theirs at risk, 65 days later, now all of a sudden we're on it, right? I think that shows a lack of leadership. And you haven't earned the respect of the fire department, the DPW, most of the residents in town, right? So that's just number one. That wasn't what I came to ask about. I guess my first question, and this will be to you directed, Mr. Mayor, is why the pay-to-play ordinance?
I'm sorry. Excuse me?
Why the pay-to-play ordinance?
There is no pay-to-play ordinance.
I understand, but you posted one. So have there been internal discussions regarding changing the borough's pay-to-play ordinance?
Well, as we noted at our prior hearing, our prior meeting, which you probably, I don't know if you were there
I
or
was there.
not. Okay, we discussed the fact that the state passed a law which probably will affect all pay-to-play ordinances throughout all municipalities in the state.
Yes, right. So for example, the one here would be borderline unenforceable, but nonetheless, from an ethical standpoint, right? Do we want to open up, maybe we do we want to open up the door to, getting thousands of dollars for our political campaigns from our borough attorneys, our borough engineers, maybe our electrical contractors? Like, is that kind of the purpose here? Because most municipalities aren't actually doing this.
It's really a moot point because the state law actually supersedes what the municipality's law is.
Yeah.
So, and I'll ask council to comment to make sure that I'm correct on that.
What little I know about it, I'm just filling in here for my partner tonight, okay? I do know that, I understand that there's a new state law that preempts some or all of the borough ordinance. So that's gotta be worked out. I mean, you can't have, you can't go beyond what this, whether it's a floor or a ceiling in this context, you can't go beyond what the state says you can do. So, you know, there's nothing before the council tonight. I think that's gonna be under review as far as I'm aware, and, you know, and at some point, the borough ordinances will have to be, you know, amended to conform with the state law.
And I have no interest in changing our current pay-to-play law, right? And from my perspective, it can stay the way it is. It's just a matter that we need to be, you know, aware legally of when a state passes a law, what effect it has on the borough ordinances, and that's really it.
Yeah, well, the borough ordinance side, will everybody who's up there, would y'all be willing to say publicly and on the record that you will not accept political campaign contributions from borough attorney, borough engineers, or any borough contractors, in line with the spirit of the voters of Belmar who passed?
I would think the thing to say would be that everybody would follow the ordinances as they are written.
Okay, so you'll continue to follow the ordinance as it's written?
Yeah,
Everybody
and
agrees?
unless the state law supersedes it.
Well, the state law does supersede it, so I'm asking you, I'm asking everybody up there individually.
This is a comment, this is a public comment section.
Yeah, well, but
You
I
know that,
have
but
right
you
to
do
question
know,
elected
you do
officials.
know that, you know, we voluntarily answer questions. We don't have to answer any questions.
If you want
You know
to,
that,
if
right?
you want to sit there while I keep asking you the same question over and over again until you answer it,
But you do
that would
know
be
that,
really boring
right?
for everybody else in here,
You
right?
do know that. And, you know, it's very rude to be talking while I'm speaking. right?
You cut me off, Mr. Mayor.
But I told you what the answer is. I'm sure everyone here will follow what the current ordinance is as affected by the state law. No more, no less.
Earlier this year, the L Street beach was closed for a few days. Can you explain to everybody why?
No,
You will not?
I can't.
Why not?
I don't have that information in front of me.
You don't have any information?
This is not a cross-examination.
I'm asking you just a very simple question. Why?
I don't know.
Kevin, do you know?
No. All comments have to be.
I'll ask whoever I want. If you want to relay the question, you can feel free to do so. Mr. Mayor, would you please ask the borough administrator if why L Street Beach was closed for
You
days?
know why L Street Beach was closed? What's that?
Do you have
Oh,
a
that's-
specific
yeah.
date?
It was, I don't, it was May-ish, like, yeah.
So you should have a specific date if you don't.
All right, fair enough, Councilman, fair enough. So
Can
you're on
I
there.
just ask?
No, pardon me,
Can
may I finish?
we only speak one at a time?
Yes.
Thank you.
So my question, how many times was the L Street Beach closed and for what purposes?
That is the most broad question I've heard.
Okay, in the
You want
last
to
6
know
months,
what
in the last 6
You
months.
did the same thing to him.
Why?
He just said.
I'm clarifying the question, in the last 6 months.
Okay?
How am I supposed to have that information off the top of my head right now?
You're a councilman, you're on the harbor commission.
So I should know every
Yeah,
single time that L Street Beach is closed within 6 months?
Okay, let's call it for more than a day. Yeah, you should, actually. Yeah, you should.
But you don't remember the dates.
I don't recall the exact dates. Pardon?
You clearly have something
Okay,
in mind that you're trying to get to, so what is it?
Well, no, I have a question about a boat that may have filled up with fuel.
You have a question about the boat that sank.
The boat that sank, yeah. So the question is, what is the policy regarding someone who fills up their gas tank and then cannot pay that bill, like that boater there? And then also, what environmental hazards were caused by either that boat itself or by pulling that boat out of the water? Is that clear enough?
Counselor, can I speak, Counselor? This is not a question and answer cross-examination. Can you explain to
litigation or something?
Can you explain to the commenter that we are here for public comment? Okay, and in about 1 minute, I'm going to say, I'm not answering any more questions. Do I have the authority to do that?
You're right.
Okay, so please make a comment, and Don't ask any more questions.
I will ask whatever questions I want of whomever
And they
I'd
will
like
not be
at a
answered.
public council meeting.
And they will not be answered.
Well, Mr. Mayor, here's another question for you. How long did it take you to pick up the phone and thank the first responders who saved lives
I
last
said
week?
I wasn't answering any more questions.
How many days did it take you to pick up the phone?
Okay.
No problem. So then I'll move on to some of your colleagues.
You know, I'm going to read something to you from our ordinances.
I'm good.
Okay?
I asked the questions in public comment period.
Excuse me. The first thing you have to learn is when somebody is speaking, you don't speak.
You just cut me off, Mr. Mayor. You just cut me off.
I'm going to read you one of our ordinances here. Okay? First of all, we don't do the 5-minute limit, which maybe we should consider as a council to do in the future. But our ordinance is about addressing the council. First of all, you shall not engage in any personally offensive or abusive remarks, which I don't think you've done so far.
Thank you.
Okay? But the chair, which is me, I'm tasked with preserving order and decorum. Okay? And it says, any person who shall disturb the peace of the council and make impertinent, and I'll say rude, or slanderous comments will conduct himself or herself in a boisterous manner while addressing the council shall be forthwith banned by the presiding officer from further remarks before the council. Okay? Except if the speaker shall submit to proper order under these rules, permission for him to her to continue may be granted by a majority of the vote of the council. So, Mr. DeSona, I want to tell you clearly, we are here to hear any comments that you would like to make.
Yeah.
Okay? But the chair will not be answering any more questions.
No problem. Then I'll ask questions of my elected representatives,
No,
not the chair.
all questions have to go through the chair.
Okay, then I'll ask you the question, then you can ask them, and then they can respond to you, and then you can
We are
respond to
not
me.
answering any more questions.
So the council and the mayor will not answer any more questions.
Correct.
Does the council agree?
The council doesn't have to agree. All right?
Or, okay, all right, well, here we go, Mr. Mayor. Last week, we saved 7 lives. To my knowledge, as of a couple of days ago, you have not called the people who actually did that, have not celebrated the people who did that. You did not make a statement until it was in the newspaper 6 days later. In my opinion, that is an embarrassing failure of leadership. An embarrassing failure of leadership. You stand here and you go, I don't know what signs are on or posted on the beach. You don't. You're the mayor of a beach town. How do you not know what signs are posted on the beach? Right? You probably don't know about all the trash along the L Street beach every single day and all down by the river that your administration does nothing to clean up. I do it personally with my 7-year-old daughter, right? Clean up trash. You never ever do it. When was the last time trash was cleaned? I can't ask them. Do you want to ask them?
No more questions.
Do you want to ask them? Okay, right. So, I guess my point here, Mr. Mayor, is everywhere, it's kind of like a bumbling answer. It's been 65 days. It's a pretty gross lack of leadership. People all around town have seen it. You just lost the fire department, they just walked out on you. And what I'd say is, it's a real shame that you're a leader in this town. I don't think you're up to the task. I understand you love the bureaucracy of Hudson County and all that stuff. But in reality, this is Belmar. We should act a little bit differently here. And I'd like to see you show some leadership one of these days.
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
No, he was standing.
Me, right? Well, here.
But the gentleman was standing. He'll be next.
Mayor, Council. Mike Sakaki, 112 18th Avenue. I don't know the gentleman that just spoke, but I find it offensive that when he stood up, that you told him to sit down. I was sitting behind the camera over there. If I stood up, are you going to tell me to sit down?
No.
So what's the difference?
Number one, he wanted to speak. And generally when people
want
to speak, they raise their hand and then they're called up. That's the
I didn't raise my hand,
process.
I walked up.
But you weren't standing in the front here blocking people's views.
Thank you.
John Walsh, 1101 B Street, and I have no political axe to grind. I'm not running for office, so I'm not gonna make a big deal here. But, and I've been living in this neighborhood for the last, since I bought in 1991. I've been living here since 2013, full-time. Didn't just move in. I just wanted to get back to the fire department, the firehouses, something I have firsthand knowledge of. And relocating companies, and that's what it's called, when they're doing work on a firehouse, is not uncommon. It's done. I worked for the New York City Fire Department for 28 years. It's done all the time. I actually worked in a firehouse with 3 bays. So we would get companies, they would work on the company up on Beekman Street, so they would bring them down with us. Then they would work the company down on Liberty Street, so they would bring that company down with us when that company went back. So it's not uncommon. It's, you know, everybody, their own firehouse, it's their home. But you know what? This is your job. You took it. You know what it entails. Everybody wants to stay, you know, in a comfortable place. As far as I know, that company had partial power, right?
I believe they do have some power, yes.
Yes.
And when you drill, you don't drill in air conditioning. Right? You drill, in real life thing, just like he said, they went up to the fire academy and were doing the drill. I mean, to me, those things are frivolous complaints. Nobody, I didn't want them coming to our house because when you first get there, it's uncomfortable. It's a territorial thing, and that's what it is. But after they're there for 6 months, it was like you know, they were part of us. So I just want to say that it's not uncommon to move people out of firehouse when they're doing work. They do it in New York City. They can do it in Belmar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would have that gentleman in the back, that he has his. Yeah, come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Kevin Baypother. I don't live in the town, but I'm the person that brought the piano project to you. I'd just like to know what the status of the project is. David will be in town before the week is out, and as far as I know, all the legal obstacles have been dealt with, all the money's in place, and I'd like to be able to tell him that we've ordered it.
Yeah, I don't know if you were here earlier in the evening. We spoke about that. Yes, it's going to be signed, the contract, we're making arrangements to have the Arts Council sign it, and then it will be sent out with a check for the 50% that they wanted. And then once they get that, we said they will start building the piano.
The phone call that I got while we were talking was from Antonius, the representative, because I didn't want to come up and ask you about something without checking with him to see if the check had come through.
Yeah, so it should be happening. I don't think it's been signed, right? Today or tomorrow. It's going to be. Yeah.
Right, and just David will be in before the week is out, and it would just be nice to know, for him to know that we followed.
Yes, it's going. It's proceeding.
Good enough. Thank you very much.
Any other comments? Yeah.
Vicki Renner, 106 D Street. I just wanted to clarify something that was said with the fire department, because I didn't know anything of this was going on. But did I hear you guys say we own the building, Belmar owns the building and the trucks?
And the land.
And the land,
Yeah.
okay? And then I heard somebody say it's Nobbin 2, which is ancient. When's the last time any of these buildings that Belmar owns the CO?
I can't answer that question. I don't know.
I mean, isn't that one of our ordinances that you have to have a CO to enter any building, any resident? When you go in, you build a house, you get a certificate of occupancy. Not in truth, it's basically
I don't know what the that is. I don't know if they.
Let's ask who does know.
Would be interesting.
You know,
We're gonna have to find out from the code officials and see what the, you know, I don't know if there's a continuing
I don't know, the
obligation.
government might be immune from a CO, that's something I would have to look
That's
up.
insane. I mean, as a borough, I would just want to clarify, and yeah, I would like to have an answer next time that says any government building that we have or Belmar owns in this town, knob and tube is a fire hazard. I don't know any house in town that would get a CO with knob and tube.
The borough doesn't issue COs for their own buildings, but I believe, you can check with the fire marshal, but I believe the state fire, marshal office comes in periodically and does inspect all borough buildings, but I would double check that, just to make sure.
Okay, so one, if the town doesn't request it, maybe we should. And number two, if the state came in, let's see when the last time the state inspected our buildings to see what shape they're in, to have knob and tube in them to get us in this position to begin with.
And I think part of the issue could also be the fact that even when they do come in, I'm not sure what actually gets inspected, because I believe this knob and tube was in the ceiling somewhere. It was way up. It was
Over the years, the building has had multiple renovations, and this particular knob and tube was on top of 3 ceilings. So it was buried pretty deep in the firehouse, so an inspection wouldn't even rebuild it.
Yeah, okay, I can understand that. I guess somehow, again, that's a glitch somewhere in something that needs to be clarified, because if it was a residential place and somebody even had it buried in 3 ceilings up or whatever, somehow an inspection or inspector would search for that stuff. So to keep everybody safe, especially the people in the fire department that are working, you know, in those buildings for the town, I say somewhere along the line, something's missing, and we should clarify or have an ordinance or something to request and make the buildings that we own safe, all of
I
them.
think, if I'm not mistaken, we had somebody inspect the other 2 firehouses. I remember believe we talked about having someone go and inspect.
Yeah, we're gonna have the engineers do a structural study of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
We
like
are-
bridges and stuff, somebody's gotta know what they're doing and what to look for, you know what I mean? And if that stuff's
agree.
there, it needs to be cleaned up, that's all.
Okay. The back.
Thank you. I'm on 14th and Ocean. Couple of things very briefly. One, I'm just a little disappointed in the whole fire thing. I don't think there's a person in this town, on this panel, anywhere, that's not looking out for, or that doesn't want to have a decent firehouse. I don't think there's a single person here that's pushing this thing off, saying, oh, well, it'll happen eventually. I'm sure you gentlemen, ladies, are all working on this as best you can. That's all I'm gonna say about it. And the fact that the man stood here threateningly in the aisle was just a little nuts for me. But the other thing is, as far as the windmills go, and all of that out in the sea, yes, it's terrible that there are some animals that have been killed. The science is showing, though, that it's not sonar, that it is mostly from ships hitting these things. However, I don't know that the science is final yet, but that's the trick with science, is that you learn from science as opposed to just opinions. So I just ask that if this council does issue some sort of statement about these things out in the sea, I'm all for the windmills out there, because if we don't do something about climate, we're not gonna have a Belmar, we're not gonna have a beach at all. So I think we should probably forget about what Fox News says or whatever, and put the damn things out in the ocean, and get this, do our little bit. You gotta be kidding me, we're a beach town, we're worried that
full whales. All of a sudden, everybody's worried about full whales that got killed, or 11 whales, whatever it was. 80, it wasn't 80 whales. But in any event, well, maybe it was, in any event. That's the other, and the last thing I wanna say is the Circle of Friends thing was great. That was so nice to walk up there and to get my little hot dog and French fries. It wasn't very busy, but maybe that's not a bad thing, you know, but maybe next year, maybe a little more advertisement or something like that, because it was great. It was heartwarming. thank you very much, everybody.
Excuse me, sir?
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
I'm sorry, my name is Greg Michelena, Michelena.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, Mr.
Tom Dilberger, 1000 River Road. Mr. Mayor, at one point this evening, you mentioned the word respect quite a few times and everything. And I wouldn't have said anything, but you're the one that brought the word up. Respect. Now, as far as this thing, remember these purple flags we've had around commemorating the people that died of drug overdoses recently? Now, I don't think much of this stuff with the drugs. It's unfortunate that people died, but they sort of, as well, chose their way out. And they went out, as far as I'm concerned, they went out not well. But I have nothing against your flags, or did you select the areas that where they're gonna be?
I don't know how those flags actually got where they are. I've seen them in numerous towns.
They're actually put out all throughout, I believe, the state,
Yeah.
by an organization.
Yeah, we didn't have any
Input, do I have no input?
I don't
As to
believe, as far as I know,
where they were placed?
no.
The
Okay.
purple flags?
Yeah, that's
That-
what it was.
Yeah, they've been there for a few years, when the program started, and that was just a spot that was picked, I think, by DPW at that time as an area where there was room to put them.
Yeah, so it's not, this,
But our DPW put them out?
Yeah, we put the flags out.
Okay.
yeah.
All I want to say is this. It's unfortunate that people die in this manner and everything. Too bad. But they chose their way out and everything, and that's it. But I'd rather not see them at Doughboy Park ever again. Now, those men, that's sort of like, I don't know, I'll use the word hallowed ground if you want. They were doing something on the level, straightforward, as young men. They were called, or they joined the service, whatever they did. And some of them were killed as good Americans. They didn't check out like these drug addicts. There's a difference there. And even when we exit, we should try to select the correct way to exit, not like that. So in the future, if we have any input on where they're put out, find another place than Doughboy Park. Not that place. So we have other places, at McClary Park, or
We can look into that.
all
That's
sorts
not,
of
that's
places
not
we
an
can
issue.
put them,
Absolutely.
rather than that place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree. Anyone else?
Good evening, John Turk, 105 6th Avenue. I just want to talk a little bit about the parking situation that occurred around the 5 mile race, specifically on 6th Avenue and 5th Avenue. Barrels were clearly put out that said no overnight parking, and I think the hours are from 4 a.m. to 2 p.m. Friday to Saturday. I can tell you many of our, not many, but several of our neighbors' cars, they didn't park in the driveways, and their cars are subsequently towed that morning, which, okay, you had the barrels out, but then other folks came in, and I know there were runners that came in and parked right there. And it was kind of disappointing that you had our neighbors, our taxpayers, who their cars were towed, and you had other people kind of coming in and parking there. And I know some of the neighbors called some of the folks from the police. The police came down, and really the point is, if you're gonna put in a policy, and I completely understand why that policy was there, but if you can't enforce it, don't have it. So that's all I had.
Thank you.
Claire Hayner, 18th and B. Just a reminder that on September 24th, we have the New Jersey Run for the Fallen. Down Ocean Avenue, approximately 9:07 at North Boulevard. They'll stop, and then at and around 9:21 down at Fifth Avenue at the flagpole. Okay. I thought it was a great idea that Mrs. Renner had as far as people helping out with painting and different things. So, Billy, if you want to give me like that big stencil for a big stop sign, I'll be happy to paint it at 18th and B. I know we ran out of money this year, but hopefully we can get that for next year. I will. You give me a stencil, I'll paint for you, okay? I'm glad to hear that the work is going to be done for the piano. It's coming up, and I kind of hope it goes, maybe when you're looking at it, maybe over on the left-hand side where there's a lot of tables set up right now. You know, that would be nice if it went over in that area. Yes, I'm being sarcastic. And last but not least, Councilman Levis, I can tell you how to get a bench within 6 months. You can get a bench every 6 months.
There you go.
All you have to do is collect 500 pounds of plastic, and it's not hard to do. Belmar itself, just from the residents, we've collected at least one bench worth, and probably very close to two. So, but they're up in Morris Plains right now. They're not in Belmar.
So how do we get them in Belmar, Claire?
Hey.
You gotta sign up to be,
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to do. The Trex will give you a bench, every 6 months. Once you turn in like 500 pounds of plastic, I think you report it every month, that's what my niece does. And then it just, you drop it off
I
at.
think this is such a good idea. We need to do this.
It's
Because I've given you all my plastic since you first.
It's drying out on my desk.
Thank you, sorry about that. Did get caught in the rainbow.
It's easy to do, just collect the plastic and then, turn it in. I drop it off at, Whiteman's. They hate it when I start walking with big bags of plastic, but it works and it's easy. So, something to think about.
Thank you, Claire, that's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Claire.
Any other comments?
Hi.
Shut down.
Hi. My name is Diane Kolazinski. I live on Pine Terrace in Lake Como. And this is my first time at this meeting. Since I bought my house about 2 years ago, I've been walking up and down 18th Avenue to go back and forth to the beach. And there has been just an inordinate amount of trash on 18th. And I've talked to the mayor of Lake Como, who actually lives on my street, many times about this, and he said that there's an agreement with Bar A, Joe's Surf Shack, and DJs that on weekends, on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, they would have staff go around and pick up trash. I'm wondering if that's accurate. Is there some kind of agreement with DJs that they would do that?
Maybe the chief might have.
I can answer that. It's actually in their liquor license restrictions that they have to do a litter patrol. But it's pretty much in the immediate area, so I don't know exactly where you're talking about. I know the bars do it, but there is a span between DJs and Joe's that may not be covered, that they don't do, so.
Yeah, I was told by the mayor of Lake Como that it's like a couple of blocks that they're supposed to do, like, you know, maybe up to Surf or A or B.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that, you know, I've gone up, so Sunday mornings when I'm walking down, you know, just trash everywhere, French fries, you know, paper plates, all kinds of liquor bottles, right? And I pick up what I can because I'm walking.
One day I went into DJ's on a Sunday, and asked to talk to the manager. The manager was a very young woman. I talked to her, I said I thought this was an agreement that you guys were supposed to pick up. And, you know, she was polite, but then basically walked away, rolled her eyes, and, you know, was basically like, you know, calling me and Karen for complaining. And of course, when I walked back from the beach, none of that, nothing had been done. So I don't know if we can put a little pressure on the owner of DJ's to, you know, comply with this idea of cleaning up. It is disgusting. I don't even walk down 18th. I walk down 17th now because it's so gross. And again, you know, I'll pick up things as I go, but just a suggestion that we could communicate with the owner to say, you know, have your manager, you know,
Absolutely.
respect, you know, the property. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Again?
I want to get my money's worth. Just on that comment. They walk.
Name and.
John Walsh,
Thank you.
Senior, 1101B, as in Belmar. They do walk around. I don't know, she might have got it on a bad day, but they're up on, they come to, on my block on B Street, between 11th and 12th. I see them, they have yellow bags. It's usually 3 kids walking around, picking up
I think,
garbage.
I think it's a different, this is a different situation. This is something that DJ's is doing, not the town.
No.
You're talking about the town.
No, I'm not talking about the town, I'm talking about the kids to pick up the garbage,
Oh,
not
all
that.
right, right.
They're not
Yeah,
that
corrected.
Right?
Okay.
They're not townies, they're not some
All
of
right,
my places.
I got you.
Right? And I don't know about those blocks there, but they come up on B Street and they,
Well, we'll double check with them, make sure they're.
we're gonna have to scold those kids, all right?
All right.
Season's over, but, you know.
Well, for next year.
summer.
Well, next year, yeah.
Any other comments? Okay. Oh, one more.
Mike Sahaki, 112 18th. I am on that block, and it has been good for many years. This year, I agree with the woman before that
Okay.
it's slacking. I go by every morning and pick up my own garbage, so I don't get fined by code enforcement. So yeah, I testified that
Yeah.
it's slacking this year, and they have been really good with their security on the corners. You know, telling people to quiet down. I don't know about this year because I'm not there late at night, but I have been for many years. But I don't know about security, but the trash pickup is lacking, and I do it myself.
We'll definitely.
So I wake up at 5:30 in the morning and go there just so I don't get a ticket.
We'll definitely touch base with them on that. Any others? Questions, comments? Okay, April.
All right, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have a resolution to go into executive session. Whereas it has been determined by the Borough Council, the Borough of Belmar, that it is necessary to discuss the following matter at its regular meeting in the absence of the public, pending or anticipated litigation regarding affordable housing and the attorney-client privilege communications related thereto. And whereas the Open Public Meetings Act permits the Borough Council to exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting during which such matters are discussed. Now therefore be it resolved by the council as follows. The council shall forthwith recess into a private executive session from which the public shall be excluded to discuss the above referenced matters. That the scope of the aforesaid executive session shall be limited to the above matters. That those matters discussed in executive session shall remain confidential until such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists as determined by the borough attorney. That minutes of the closed session shall be taken and kept free from public review until such time that the need for confidentiality no longer exists as determined by the borough attorney. And that the regular meeting of the Borough Council shall resume after the private executive session, at which time the Borough Council may take action in reference to the topic discussed. Do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
We're gonna go into executive session. We will come back out, but it'll most likely just be to close out the meeting.
Have a good time.
I'm so sorry we never got
All right, do we even need to go up on the dais, or is this still being recorded? Oh, it is.
Still an official meeting.
Come on, quick.
Yeah, I'll stand.
All right, so I can like this on.
You're all good
Yep, we're back in public session, so we can ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. If there's nothing else.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Good job,
Max, I was more interested in the piano than anything else.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, come again.
Thank you, come again, John Jr.
Thank you, John Jr., come again.